underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Beyond.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Beyond, episode 332. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside he only does everything, Colin Moriarty.
Nick's calling you there.
Nick Scarpino's calling me. Hold on. Nick, I'm doing Podcast Beyond. Oh, you're not even on speaker yet. Hold on. Nick, I'm doing Podcast Beyond.
Okay, have fun.
All right, bye, Beyond.
Beyond.
Oh, he knew what to say. That's cool. And our very special guest, Lucy O'Brien.
Hello.
How are
everyone.
you?
Oh, I'm okay. I'm gonna give you an honest answer
That's
because
good.
I am a little jet lagged.
For people who don't know you, which would be preposterous if you read IGN, give us your quick rundown.
So I am technically the entertainment editor at IGN Australia. But I'm also kind of the jack of all trades because we're a small team down there, so I look after game stuff and social stuff as well.
Okay. So you wear many hats.
I wear many hats.
And now
yes.
you've flown here to the United States.
I have flown
And you're
here.
very tired.
I'm very tired, yeah. I was just chatting before. I sort of feel a bit seasick. I feel like I'm like on a slightly rocking boat.
Welcome to America.
That's how.
So it's always like this.
The
Yeah.
United States of America,
Right.
a slightly rocking boat.
How long is that flight from Sydney?
It's like 13 hours, and then the extra couple of hours from LA to San Francisco. But yeah, it's just the time zone thing. I mean, when I wake up in the morning, my body's telling me it's 2 a.m.
Right.
That's no good.
And then you'll
It's
adjust and
not
then you'll
right.
have to go home.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'll finally adjust and then be going home.
You are here, of course, for IGN's annual content conference. We call
That's
it COCO.
right.
This
Yeah.
means nothing to you, listener or viewer. But basically, we all get together and shut the site down for 2 days, kind of.
The site still's up.
Yeah. Well, I wish. Wouldn't that be cool if we closed it down and you came and there was like a closed sign?
Yeah.
Gone
that'd be
fishing.
That'd be great.
Gone COCO.
That'd be good for our jobs.
That'd be great for everything.
Yeah.
Or like when TV channels used to shut off and it was just that, we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. Just color, we play the national anthem and it's just color
Yeah,
bars.
that's it. That's it.
Of course, this is IGN's PlayStation podcast, the number one PlayStation podcast on the internet. Let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news.
By the way, Greg, real quick,
Yeah,
let's thank the listeners.
Okay, hey, listeners, thanks.
650,000 downloads of Podcast Beyond in February.
In a month?
Yes.
In a short month?
Yes.
So you're telling me if there was the extra days there should have been, we'd
been
have even better
680.
numbers. Holy cow, I tell you what.
Thank you for that. That's
We're
up-
knocking it out of the park.
Yeah,
How much money are we seeing out of that?
Nothing.
Oh, good to know.
In fact, I think technically the bigger the podcast gets, the more money we lose on it.
Go to hell, pair.
So thank you for all that. That's extraordinary.
Yeah, what else do we ever talk about? Anything to
Nope.
touch on?
That's it. It's been a good
I
show.
sent last week we talked about the listener who was going to have surgery.
Oh, did
And
he? Did
I sent him the Neptunia game.
no? Tales of Symphonia.
Oh, whatever, close
Don't.
enough.
Hyperdimension Neptunia sucks.
I just like screwing with you. I love anytime I say Danganronpa, you get mad.
Yeah.
Sent him that. He emailed back already. He says he's doing well.
Good.
Game's being overnighted to him right now.
Good.
So there you
As
go.
we speak.
As we speak.
By courier.
There's a raven in the air with the game.
Did you pay a guy that looks like Cole to deliver it?
So I paid past me. Spoilers for Infamous 1.
Yeah. Well,
Too bad you had your chance.
there are 12 items on the list, Greg.
A dozen. A straight
Better
up
than the
dozen.
24 that I had last week. That
I
was
liked
a
it.
friggin' long one.
was
Number
fun.
1. Infamous Second Son is getting a so-called Legacy Edition available only to those who download it digitally. The Legacy Edition includes the Cole's Legacy DLC, some new jackets for Delson, and more. Additionally, we'll be live streaming an hour of Infamous Second Son this Thursday, March 6th at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
I'm excited for that one.
I was at Sucker Punch last week. I got to play the portion of the game that will be live streaming. Now, I think it might be the same portion that that some people played in Santa Monica. I actually deferred to Vince to play it because I had already played it.
You wanted the ball at the start of the second half.
Exactly. Yeah.
How are you excited? How is it looking?
It was very good.
What
I played was
happening?
very good.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
It is like I got my hands on it a couple of weeks ago, and it is so pretty. That was the thing that really it was just so unbelievably attractive to look at.
Yeah, I agree. It's what I was really enamored by was the skin textures of these characters. Reggie has like little like the black like birthmarks and like just normal like but like
like a
things you
normal
would
person.
like things you would take for granted on like a computer generated model, a computer generated model. It's like it's gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous. Like you can see their pores and stuff like that. It's just like so cool.
That's what I've been waiting for years.
Yeah,
since I picked up my Game Boy in 1989, I've been waiting to see like pores.
I want to get inside Troy Baker's face and make a little home in them pores.
Yes. and it's also a lot of fun. You feel very powerful. Now they in the demo I played, they had the health shut off, so I didn't know how well I was playing.
Sure.
Probably not very
Playing
well.
that God mode, you don't know.
But yeah, it was very good. And I was at Sucker Punch to do some fun stuff. So we'll have
what's the fun stuff? Tell me about the fun stuff.
well, we're doing the history of Sucker Punch. This will mark. I've done now all of the American studios for Sony. So Sucker Punch. Naughty Dog Part 5 will be up in a couple weeks, and then Sucker Punch will be up a little bit after that.
Nice. Another thing to point out, we've heard your cries, ladies and gentlemen. Over the weekend, I did Walking Dead Episode 1 in 5 minutes. A lot of people liked it, but then a lot more of the Beyond fans were like, what about Infamous? Can you do an Infamous? We're doing Infamous in 5 minutes. It'll be up, hopefully, the Monday before the game comes out, so you'll have plenty of time to get caught up.
You like Francis Underwood?
Yeah.
Hitting it. Yeah.
What, do you watch House of Cards? Is that a big deal for you over there?
I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you guys. We don't actually have Netflix in Australia.
God damn this country.
Can you believe how backwards that is? We don't have Netflix.
No, I don't like this one bit. I'm not a fan.
But the toilets do flush in the opposite direction.
You got the spiders and the drop bears, and
we
now
got
no
the
Netflix.
spiders and the drop bears, and the toilets are weird and no Netflix. So there you go. Come to Australia.
Disastrous place.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Will the Mass Effect trilogy come to PlayStation 4? BioWare General Manager Aaron Flynn confirmed on Twitter that the studio has considered migrating the entirety of the trilogy over to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in a remastered format. But there's little else to report at this time. That would be cool.
That'd be awesome. You know, you and I have been talking a lot lately. I've been wanting RPGs. We're posting this on Tuesday, aren't we? Yes.
I don't know.
We're recording on Monday because of the Cocoa. I was going somewhere with this Cocoa stuff, and then I got distracted by bright lights. We're recording on Monday, so we can post on Tuesday as usual. Hopefully, with the Underwood knock there, the video will go live as well at the same time. But now that the embargo's out, I can tell you South Park's fucking awesome. South Park is so good, Colin. God, did I love that game. And it totally fulfilled my need for an RPG that I was looking for, something really good to get into again. However, it's short. I'm putting in quotes, like 12 hours. And so I was done with it. And then I was like, ugh. And then when I saw this announcement, I was like, if Mass Effect, all 3 of them are out right now, I'd be lost in that.
That's a solid 90 hours.
Yeah, that's a long time. Get my redhead shepherd back in action there.
Yeah, it'd be real good. Do you like Mass Effect?
I love Mass Effect.
What's your favorite one?
My favorite one is number 2.
2?
I think isn't that a common consensus?
Yeah, because number 1 sucked.
Number 1 didn't suck, but okay.
Oh, man.
I don't think I could go back and play number 1 again, but I could definitely play 2 and 3 again. It's just number 1, it was just finding its feet. There was some issues that they ended up smoothing out. But yeah, number 2 is one of the most memorable games I think I've ever played. And I actually got really invested with my romance.
Yeah,
really
a big
really properly into it in a kind of bordering on creepy way.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
That's the way everyone was with Mass Effect. They just don't talk about it.
No, I think a lot of people do. I think we talk about it late. That was the thing, though. Like in 2, I romanced Miranda.
Yeah.
And that was what I was going for, of course. Or maybe I did. No, I think I did. I'm totally confused. I'm thinking my playthroughs are messed up. My real romance was with Garrus. I'm a female. I was with Garrus. Not that it matters, I guess. I was with Garrus, going forward, doing my thing. And then when 2 came out, Garrus was playing hard, or 3 came out. Garrus was playing hard to get. So I went with that, like the receptionist girl who liked you a lot. And then
she was really eager, wasn't she?
Yeah, exactly.
She was super eager. It was hard to say no to her.
Instant gratification is what I wanted. I got to see her shower for a bit, and then I climbed in there with her. And I was like, God damn, BioWare.
Well done. So hopefully I'm excited to hear more about Mass Effect 4 as well. Hopefully that's going to come sooner rather than later.
The story of Rex.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be really riveting stuff. Number 3.
He was in a reptile.
This is for you, Greg.
Oh, good. Finally, news for Greg.
Yes. It looks like a new Batman game is on the horizon. Yes. And its announcement may be imminent. Kotaku reported that GameStop stores received promotional Batman banners showing the Arkham series logo in flames. IGN has confirmed with multiple sources that these promotional materials are real. Rocksteady, the developer of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, has been dormant since the release of City in 2011. Arkham Origins was developed by WB Montreal, indicating Rocksteady has a next-gen game planned in the series. We'll have to wait to find out. I think that's obvious.
Yeah. This is the same thing we talk about forever. Kevin Conroy, of course, got all confused at that Dallas Comic-Con panel and said he'd been working on a Batman game for 9 months.
Where am I?
What year is it?
I kind of felt sorry for him.
Totally.
And that, we've seen that a lot of voice actors accidentally, revealing a game that they've been working on and then getting confused and then the internet going crazy.
Exactly.
I just feel that they should be briefed better.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember when we had Eric Layden in here for Infamous 2 and then just in general being Cole and stuff, and when he got in trouble originally for leaking it, and then when he was in PlayStation All-Stars 2, he tweeted at one point, it's like such a great opportunity to work with this cast of voice actors, and he put David Hayter in there, and I'm like, dude, none of that is confirmed. And he's like, it was on IMDb. I'm like, anyone can edit IMDb. That does not make it official. He's like, I'm sorry. I don't know why he's apologizing to me in that story.
Yeah, he doesn't have to apologize.
He was sorry overall.
Yeah.
But
no, thank you, Eric Layden, for leaking everything, so we wrote about it.
He was the best. I hope he pops up in Infamous Second Son.
I hope he pops back up in Mad Men.
Everybody's begging to know what's happening with Betty Draper's brother.
Number 4, The Last of Us is getting more DLC. Naughty Dog has confirmed the upcoming DLC includes more multiplayer content and a brand new difficulty mode, which I'm very interested in. Naughty Dog has already confirmed that no more single-player DLC will be forthcoming.
What if it's just baby mode? That's a difficulty.
Baby mode?
Yeah.
I don't know how much harder it can possibly get.
Have you done the final?
No, the survivor mode is like, no, you can't see through walls and stuff like that. It's pretty hard.
I like that announcement. I like that they're not. I mean, we didn't exactly expect any more single-player DLC, but I like it that they've just left it.
Yeah,
they've just finished. They know when to stop. You know?
Yeah, I agree, and I think that they're eager to move on, as they often are.
Yeah, their next big project.
Yeah, whatever it'll be.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5. Dead Nation is officially coming to PlayStation 4.
We're playing it together. You're going to break your multiplayer rules
yeah,
to play with me.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be extraordinary. I broke my multiplayer rules to play Call of Duty Extinction Mode, though.
Sure, but
I refuse to play with a mic.
Are you
and anyone who played with a mic, I
Are you going to play with a mic with me on Dead Nation?
Yeah.
Thank you. I was going to say, I do not want to be yelling down the hall to each other.
So look for Dead Nation Apocalypse Edition, which brings the road to... What was it? What was that DLC called? Road to Devastation.
Is that what it was?
And some other updates.
Okay. I'll look for it.
On March 4th. It's free for PlayStation Plus.
It's today. This is going live.
Yes, it's going live.
This should go live with the Underwood. You started it. Don't get me. You can't get mad at your own
never even
joke.
saw House of Cards, and it's just totally
So
lost on
he
probably.
wears this clasp ring, and he knocks it on the table all the time, and it's awesome.
Right.
I want a signature like that. That was my thing growing up. Is I thought I'd want a signature, and so I thought about maybe I'd always have like a sucker. I was like, that's a terrible signature. Chicken wings are my signature, but I don't always have them with me.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, trying to I tried to give myself a nickname when I was a kid. I tried to get people to call me Lion. No one would call me Lion. I insisted on it. I wouldn't respond to Lucy.
Nice.
People had to call me Lion. It didn't work.
I'm gonna call you Lion from now on.
All right, great.
All right, good.
Let's get this thing restarted.
Yeah, we're doing it. Don't
let's
worry.
kick it off.
You got to go change your Twitter handle now to Lion.
Somehow it's not already taken.
IGN Lion.
Number 6. If you're a North American PlayStation Plus subscriber, these are the free games you can look forward to in March. Mm-hmm. PS4 players get Dead Nation Apocalypse Edition. PS3 gamers get Tomb Raider, Thomas Was Alone, and Lone Survivor, the Director's Cut.
Those are some good games.
PS Vita owners get Unit 13.
That's a really good game.
Hell yeah, it is. And PSP gamers will get Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, which is also available on Vita. European PS Plus users get Dead Nation, Tomb Raider, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, Pixel Junk Monsters Ultimate HD, and Smart As.
I like Smart As.
Yeah.
I reviewed that game.
You sure did.
It was already free here, and it's come and gone, or maybe it's still there, part of it.
We have a better month this month, which is rare.
Yeah. We usually get screwed over. Thanks for nothing, Shuhei.
Number 7. Super popular PS3 exclusive fighting game JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Stars Battle will launch in Europe and Australia on April 25th. Its North American release date is still unknown. That game sold like fucking crazy in Japan.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see how it does here. Yeah.
I remember Vince is excited for it.
Yeah, we imported it.
Yeah. That's how I knew about it already.
Is it terrible that I've never heard of this?
No. And who's ever heard of JoJo whatever? I think fighting games are like Madden or FIFA. There's like there's like this genre of games that there's no crossover really.
Yeah.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure apparently is like a super popular manga going back to the 80s.
I think this is the first time we ever heard of this, right? Is like you and I were like shouting at TGS screens or something. We were like running home base. Maybe you weren't even here. You were at TGS and whatever. Yeah, great story, Greg. Thanks.
Yeah, it's a good one, Greg. Thanks for telling me that one.
Bringing everybody home.
Number 8, Metroidvania style indie game Forma 8 is coming to PS4 and Vita. News comes by way of developer Mixed Bag, which is bringing its PC game to the console and handheld later this year. That game looks really cool. Have you played it? I don't play many PC games.
No, I haven't played it.
No.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
No,
you're right. You fit right in.
No help.
Good.
Stupid Wazdas.
This is why I'm on the PlayStation podcast.
Yeah. I was playing over the weekend. I was in this Elder Scrolls Online thing. That game, I'm still stoked for. Still super excited for it, but I want to play it with PlayStation. But I wanted to see what was happening. I jumped in there. I was playing. I was like, yep, I'm down. I'm sold. But using the Wazdas and the mouse.
Play like
really,
that.
I mean, obviously Lee, wrote an article about that game, playing that game, as a console game. I'm really intrigued by how it translates.
Yeah. Well, that was the one thing. Yeah, that was the weird thing of like going through the sliders even when I was creating a character, is that it seems so made for a mouse. It's going to be weird to have that controller interface and see how that works.
Yeah, I'm also really interested. Like a lot of people, I don't know what it's like here, but a lot of people back home still have this idea that Elder Scrolls Online is just going to be like another Skyrim.
Right.
Like there's this kind of impression that it's Skyrim too.
Yeah.
But it's obviously so different.
Yeah.
It's so far removed from that. But yeah. I'm still excited for it.
No, I'm stoked for it. I think our people are in for an interesting awakening of it
That's
not being
it.
Skyrim.
Of
there's
it
so
not
many
being
people.
Skyrim.
Yeah, there's been just casual gamers who've been in the office like filming some of the stuff we were doing, and they were just crew, and they're like, "Oh man, do you know about that online Skyrim?" I'm like, "It's not really."
Online Skyrim.
Yeah, I'm
That's
like,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, worrying about endgame and raids. Don't worry about it, anyways.
Number 9. PC puzzle platformer Tesla Grad is coming to Vita and PS3. Rain Games made the announcement on the PlayStation blog, though it didn't note when we can expect it. This game looks cool as well. A lot of puzzle games on Vita. I can get down with it.
It's a puzzling platform.
It's puzzling why no one buys it.
It's puzzling why Surge Deluxe trophies don't pop more.
17 years of mistakes in one device.
Thank you, Ray Gutierrez, PlayStation blog.
Number 10, Cell Damage HD is coming to PS4, PS3, and Vita. Cell Damage HD is a reimagining of the original Cell Damage, which came to PS2, Xbox, and GameCube way back
I don't
in
remember Cell
2001.
Damage.
Its release date is still unknown.
What
I remember
was
the
Cell
name.
Damage?
I never played it.
Okay. You got anything for me?
Give me what is it?
I don't know.
We don't know.
Right in.
I'll look up on the internet here while we look.
Number 11, Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 may be getting some
Lords of
DLC.
Shadow!
Called Revelations. Text was found in Lords of Shadow 2's code indicating that the spin-off DLC will allow players to play as Alucard, Dracula's son.
What did you guys think of Lord of Shadows 2?
I gave it a 6.5.
Oh, you reviewed it.
Yeah. I didn't like it very much. It was okay.
I didn't even touch
You?
it. No.
Did you play it?
I played the first 3.5 hours.
What did you think?
Well, I just, full disclosure, I never played the first one. So this was me going in as someone, just picking it up fresh. I thought it was interesting. I liked the look of it. I liked the sort of gothic sensibility. I liked the, the gore and that sort of thing. But it did seem quite overly familiar, I think is the best way to describe it. There was nothing new there that really grabbed me. There was nothing that made me super excited to play the full game. It was fine with some interesting elements.
Yeah.
So yeah, I forgot that you wrote the review, and I think you got it spot on actually.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
I it for once.
Yeah, no, it's very rare. Yeah, I'm a huge Castlevania fan, and I really felt like Lords of Shadow was the first 3D Castlevania game. Not the first good 3D Castlevania game, because Castlevania 64 was a good game. A lot of people shit on that game, but that was a good game. Mm-hmm. But that was the first one that understood Castlevania. And it felt like Simon's Quest, Castlevania 2 in a way, like a linear adventure, and brings you somewhere. And they just threw everything away with Castlevania 2, with Lords of Shadow 2. I don't understand why they just abandoned everything they found worked in the original one, Because the original one's more like a 9 to me. I think that game's fantastic. And so, I don't know. It was disappointing, and apparently Mercury Steam it was very troubled development for that game.
Oh yeah,
and
I've seen this thing making it, the anonymous developer talking about it,
Right.
making the rounds.
And apparently Mercury Steam paid out of their own pocket to get more dev time and all sorts of stuff. And apparently, who knows? It's also unsubstantiated.
Sure.
But apparently, a lot of people are pointing fingers at the director of the game. He's like a control freak and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know. I was disappointed. I really wanted to like that game. I was very excited. I asked to review.
Well, especially when it's a series that you love, and I think that's always it's more of a disappointment when it's a long-standing series that has a great history, and then you play the next one and it's just
shucks.
Yeah.
Send that shit back to Japan and let them make another Metroidvania, for God's sake.
Cell Damage is a cartoony take on vehicular combat games like Twisted Metal. The story focuses on 6 cartoon characters from a fictional cartoon show called Cell Damage. The characters annihilate each other to the delight of TV audiences, and since they are cartoons, instantly regenerate. There you go. That's
Sounds
Cell
boring.
Damage. Look at that box art, though.
I remember that.
That's some good box art.
I remember seeing that game.
Hey, I've got I want to just quickly interrupt. I've got a little fun fact for you guys. Back when I lived in New Zealand, I actually wrote a video game. I was a co-writer for a video game that was released on the 360 and the PlayStation 3, only in America and Europe, and never even
What is
got
it?
released in Australia. It was called Blood Drive.
I knew you were gonna say it.
I knew that too!
I knew you were gonna say it.
It was absolutely. I feel really bad
That's
for
a she
saying this
game,
because
right?
we all worked really hard on that game, but
Yeah.
it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Talk about anyway. I won't get into details because I'm sure I signed something. But yeah, I actually spent some time writing a car combat game. Back.
Yeah, Greg reviewed that.
I was
game.
gonna
Was it
say,
you who
yeah, I was
reviewed
gonna
that?
say.
I knew you were gonna say. I knew you were gonna say
Greg's
Blood Drive.
Opening thing here from November 9th, 2010. I'll admit that I'm a little shocked when I first saw the video of Blood Drive and then saw the box boasting statements such as "brain stains in automobiles." I thought this was going to be bad game. This was going to be a bad game, but after playing it for a while, I can tell you it isn't. It's just a rather boring and poorly put together game.
I actually read that review.
and you're like, I will
read
go
that.
to IGN and crush him one day.
To be honest, I think we all just went, Yeah, well,
I'm not
gonna dispute.
It all added up, Greg, because we were talking about
5-5
vehicular
mediocre,
combat.
by the way.
Lucy was saying she was in New Zealand. She put that game out, right? Is that
It was she, yeah.
And they're in New Zealand. It all made, and I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
She could have been putting out Shatter too.
They could have been putting out Shattered too. Yeah.
Why didn't you write that, huh? Where were you on that one, O'Brien?
I fucking love
I'm
that
sorry,
game.
Lion. Where were you?
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for
Is that what?
remembering.
Is that
Oh.
is that where it comes from? O'Brien plus L, Lion.
No, I just think I thought it was cool.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Well,
think
it is
there
cool.
was there was
It's cooler
childhood
now.
logic behind it, which
You
was,
have like
it was cool.
You have like the mane of hair.
Yeah, that's it.
It's cooler now that it rhymes. Greg,
Yeah.
number 12. The following games, some long ago announced on PlayStation hardware, finally have release dates.
Oh, cool.
Vessel comes to PS3 on March 11th. Luftrausers comes to PS3 and Vita on March 18th. Finally. I think that game was announced like 2 years ago for Vita and PS3. SteamWorld Dig comes to PS4 and Vita on March 18th. And Fez comes to PS3, PS4, and Vita on March 25th.
Fez is exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The Loof trousers, I hear nothing but good things about. A lot of people talking about that. Here's my question. Still no word on that Minecraft.
No.
Somebody keeps bringing it up to me and saying it's coming in March. The IGN website says it's coming in March because when they did their debut trailer, it said that they were shooting for March 2014, but that was like over a year ago.
Oh, at Gamescom?
Yeah. So not over a year.
Not
over
over a year ago, no. Not quite. Not quite that long.
It was a long time ago.
I don't know. Whatever.
Whatever. You're excited for the Vita version.
Yeah, the Vita. I'll actually give it a go on the Vita.
Okay.
That's
Lucy.
it.
Yes.
Blood Drive was a cool game, but it came out forever ago. If I
did.
wanted to know what was coming out this week, where would I go?
What?
I said you have to fail on that one. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The Andrew Goldfarb Memorial list of upcoming PlayStation software on all three platforms by the IGN editors. That's enough.
You know what? I don't even work in this office, and I feel the lack of him. I feel I feel the hole he's left behind.
Where are the smiles and the BioShock merch?
On PlayStation 4, Awesome Knots Assemble comes to PS4 digitally.
Okay.
Dead Nation comes to PlayStation 4 digitally.
You're excited.
It's all that matters. PS3. Master Reboot comes to PlayStation 3 digitally. NASCAR 14 digitally. South Park The Stick of Truth at retail and digitally. The Walking Dead Season 2 Episode 2
Awesome.
digitally.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
Vita.
that's so exciting.
Hatsune Miku Project Diva F digitally.
Also can't wait.
That's a huge series in Japan.
I believe you.
It's a rhythm game. I
Is it
don't really
good?
give a flying
Yeah, I was
fuck
gonna
about
say.
it. And on PS2, Girl Answer, Heritage of War, that old OG JRPG. That's it.
All right. Let's
No
check with
garbage over
listeners. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, be part of the show beyond at IGN.com, just like Royce Butler did. Royce
Royce, I
says...
haven't heard from him in a while.
I know, right? He says beyond.
Beyond.
Hey guys, Rolls-Royce 5 here with a question. With the recent trend of all the last year's best games, DMC, BioShock Infinite, and Tomb Raider coming to PlayStation Plus as free games, do you think The Last of Us will come as a free title come June? I sure hope so, as I just traded it in anticipation of this happening. Jeez, Royce, pulling the trigger a bit early on that one.
No, I don't think so.
I don't either. What do you think?
I don't know.
The problem
I
is,
don't
like,
think
that's
so.
still a system seller. That's still a
Yeah.
big deal. You know what I mean? Like, and also they're showing off PlayStation Now with it. So if there's a future involved with it, you imagine it's going to be related to PlayStation Now. So why would you be giving away this game?
Yeah, it doesn't make
It's too
sense.
big.
Yeah.
Why did you write 24 on that?
That is the time code. So that if we wanted to break out a video about this question.
Oh.
See how there's a method to Greg Miller's madness.
We're
the
only
scribblings of it.
24 minutes in?
Yeah, it was a short Roper report.
Jeez Louise.
We didn't do our normal thing where we bullshit a bunch in the beginning.
No.
So no, there's no. What I mean, what do you think? I guess it's interesting. We always talk about PlayStation Plus. I talk to these people at PlayStation about PlayStation Plus. They never have any strong answers. They don't want to tell you anything.
Yeah.
DMC, I get right. DMC came out and was done. BioShock came out and it seemed like still going with DLC. I guess that's the hook. Get the game into people's hands. Get them to play DLC.
I'm sure.
And then Tomb Raider, I thought was an interesting pick too.
Tomb Raider was interesting just because they re-released it on PS4, so I guess there's nothing to lose on PS3 at that point. The game already sold well.
That's a very good point.
The game already sold well.
Sure.
BioShock did as well. DMC didn't.
Sure, yeah, DMC didn't sell well, but I would think that I guess you put it on PS3 for free. Like I would think you're kneecapping yourself on the Tomb Raider front, right?
Yeah.
Like I've upgraded. I own both, and now I'm like, oh, maybe I'll buy a definitive edition. Oh no, it's there's no upgrade program. Get it for free. Pay $20 or anything.
I've asked many times, many people at Sony to explain anything about PlayStation Plus, and they just won't.
They just stare at you.
How it works, where the money comes from, what the lump sum payments are like. No answers.
They just say top men are working on it?
Yeah,
You
they're
go,
just like,
"Who?"
it's none of your fucking business. Now get the hell out of here.
I really like just this idea that they put on blindfolds and spin around and then just point at a game. That's going to PlayStation Plus. That's it's how it seems to work to me.
It's unbelievable. I don't understand how they make money on it. How it is profitable, and like I don't understand how that is, and how bad it makes Xbox Live Gold games, whatever the fuck it's called. Look, like
I think it's just Xbox got Live Gold.
No,
Gold game. Oh, you mean the games that are for free?
Yes.
Yeah, they have a problem with
being
that.
smart ass, but it was called something else.
Well, you did your whole stutter step to get to the title.
Yeah,
I didn't know what was
yeah.
happening. You're processing the words different.
It's just there's such a huge, vast landscape of just like this huge void on Xbox, like where it's just like where are the games at? Like it's like Civ Rev is free right now.
Mm-hmm.
The game came out in 2009, right? So it's like I don't know. It's just weird that they haven't upped their game a little bit.
Yeah.
No Xbox One games either. You know, it's all Xbox 360 games.
Well, especially because PlayStation Plus, I think when PlayStation Plus was first announced as a service, people rolled their eyes, but it's gradually become, a really fantastic service that you get more bang, more than the bang for your buck that you'd expect.
Yep.
I mean, how much is it over here per?
It's at $50 a year.
Yeah, okay, $50
Yeah.
a year, which is nothing compared to what you get.
I piss $50 a year.
Yeah.
Greg Miller
I
wipes
spent
his
50
ass with $50.
I spent $50 in an hour on a Saturday night.
Well, yeah, Australia's really expensive.
Australia. is
What's
really
that all about?
expensive.
Why is that happening?
Yeah, well, I've had this chat with a few people today.
Oh, sorry.
No, not at all. It's to be completely honest, I'm not quite sure what that's about. It seems like a really old-fashioned thing that hasn't been. I mean, Australia's got a very bad reputation, I think, outside of Australia when it comes to the government's attitude towards video games. Games are really expensive. It's even worse in New Zealand. And of course, previous to the end of last year, I think it was, we had no R18 classification, which we do now, which a lot of people don't realise. And a lot of people think, oh, God, everything's going to get banned in Australia. Like there's no way they'll allow anything that has, that's not PG, basically.
Right.
But that has changed. We've still got a couple of odd little quirks, like, for example, South Park Stick of Truth, we're getting a modified version, because I think it was the anal probes again.
Yeah.
I walked in on that part of the game when Greg was playing in the living room
It's
a
just
couple weeks ago.
we're not spoiling anything because it's a news story around Jane. I won't talk about the story context of it like it matters, but it's just so over the top that it's just so ridiculous to watch.
Yeah, it was. I like the screen. Did you guys see the screen that they put in the European version?
Yeah.
It's just like an old Roman statue with his hand on his
Yeah.
head and the European flag or the European Union flag in the background. Looks
And
so-
then just text that.
Yeah.
This is what's happening in this scene that you're not allowed to see.
It's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Anyway, but we have got a lot better. I think is something that I want to stress to non-Australians. We do actually get most games. we
I remember, like,
pretty much get all of them.
Dead Island was a big one back in the day. Like
yeah,
the
and
original Dead
Left
Island.
4 Dead 2
Yeah.
was a real blow to a lot of people. We got a totally modified version. I didn't because I was living in New Zealand back
Nice
then.
job,
Yeah. But no, yeah, that was a real blow, and a lot of people got really cynical about the state of Australian, government's.
So why does anybody stay over there? You don't get
Well,
you don't get the games.
Well,
it's a million degrees. Snakes.
The alligators walking across the street and the
Yeah.
poisonous spiders. No, I tell you what, a lot of people stay there because it's really beautiful and sunny and lovely.
If you like that kind of thing.
If you're into that,
if you like
you're
going
into that sort of
outside.
thing.
Colin and I are just like trying to close the blinds tighter, play games all day.
I'm so fascinated by Australia because there's just this vast wilderness, this
The outback.
this frontier in the middle, like that's nothing. Like it's like Perth's on the other side, right? And then it's like just nothing, and then like Sydney and all the it's
so much
unbelievable.
nothing.
It's unbelievable that no one lives in this space. We have openness in the United States, but there are people in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's anything going on. What is the statistic? I don't even know.
Nothing
Like
going on.
Well, no, it's like isn't it like 80% of the people in Australia live like what is it like 10 miles from the water, some stat like that, or maybe it's 50 miles from the water. I was just reading about it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
It is really bizarre, and I mean that's why they make horror movies like Wolf Creek, for example. Like just because the outback is the great unknown, and it's kind of terrifying, and you just imagine that all sorts of like terrifying serial killers live there,
Well, I've met
and their little
Panda
huts
Musk.
just waiting for vulnerable city folk like us to cross their paths.
You picked the wrong road to go down. Colin.
Yes.
Last week we had a special segment, Liar, where someone called you a liar and Nate Fox a liar at the same time. We eventually, cooler heads prevailed. Nobody was a liar.
Right.
There was just a bit of confusion.
Right.
However, the Prince of Darkness writes in with another liar segment.
Jesus.
He says, Beyond.
Beyond.
My name is Eddie. I've been watching the endings for Infamous and Infamous 2, and I think Nate Fox lied to us. Let me explain. In Infamous 1, after you defeat the last boss, he shows you his past, and you hear him talk about the first son. It goes on to explain his story and who he is. Now in Part 2, you just get 2 different endings, in which Nate Fox said the good ending is canon. That, my friends, has to be a lie, because the good ending, no conduits survive.
That's not true.
Not true at all. That's the big thing. This is something that confused me too, Prince of Darkness. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. When we got to Second Son, and we were like, well, which ending's real? And they're like, oh, the good ending's real. And it was like, I remember so distinctly Zeke talking about conduits around the world dying. But when you go back and watch the video, Zeke actually says some conduits around on the other side of the earth were dying. Everyone inside Empire City who was a conduit dropped dead for sure. Then some around the world got hit by the waves too. But some, I guess, were too strong for that. Maybe Infamous Second Son will touch on this.
Maybe. Do you like Infamous?
Yeah, I do. I played both of them to death, actually. I like the way that I describe Infamous. It's one of those games that feels really good to play.
Yes,
like
right?
It's so appealing for that reason. You're never bored because just running around the city feels good, and that's why I'm really excited for Second Son.
Me too. We get it soon. And they reiterated to me, because I was talking to them when I was at Sucker Punch, I'm like, I am not convinced that Cole's not in this game. And they were like, we've been pretty clear that Cole is not in this game. And so I was
Spoilers.
thinking, you know who will be in the game?
Zeke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zeke has got to be back.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is like
There's got to be a cameo.
Yeah,
we've
I hope
talked about this at length, you and I at home in our heart-shaped bed. Is the fact that they've lied to us once. And then they have to continue to lie. This is the same thing we were talking about. IGN put up an article not too long ago, like the biggest flip-flops or something in gaming, right? And Jaffe got called out in it for saying he wasn't working on Twisted Metal, he wouldn't be at E3. And then he came to E3 and showed Twisted Metal.
And a goddamn ice cream truck he's coming out of it.
Exactly. And so then when that article went up, somebody tweeted at him and Justin, who wrote the article, and then they all started going back and forth. Not in a bad way, but in a way of like, Jaffe's like, yeah, I lied, and I'd lie again, and I'll have to lie. You know what I mean? Like, people want to surprise you. They don't want to. It's not like they're under oath when we ask them questions. Like they're selling you a product and a story, and they don't want to be like, nope, can't answer that.
I also think it's got to the point now where people are so rabid for information, they will find information. You know, it's and people have to lie. I think it's got to the point where people actually have to lie now because, otherwise there's going to be no mystery to anything.
When we finished Infamous 1, when I finished Infamous 1, I immediately had the theory of what was going to happen in Infamous 2 with the Beast and John and everything. And it turned out to be right. And I remember I bounced that off Sucker Punch guys, like, at the first preview event. And they're like, interesting theory. They can't be like, yep, you've nailed the game. Sorry, no reason to play it now. Hope you had fun.
Oh, I can't wait to play it, though.
Prince of Darkness goes on a bit here, and he's just rambling more and more about Kessler, though. It's pure speculation. But if Kessler is the second son, then that explains the name. And maybe, just maybe, not only did he go through time, but he went forward in time to an alternate reality, thus explaining Seattle in some place to resemble a real city. I kind of understand what he's going for. Because a lot of people had talked about, too, even though we had done a Rewind Theater where we called out, like, this shadow kind of looks like Kessler. We kind of moved on. Other people now are just getting hung up on that. I don't think this involves Kessler.
I don't either. And the reason so I asked him about Seattle because I thought it was really interesting about, obviously they're in Bellevue. It's a suburb of Seattle, and it makes sense that they would make a game that was like, in Seattle. But, Empire City was New York City, but it was still Empire City. New Marais, obviously. Yeah. New Swamp is New Orleans. But they went real this time. And what they were saying was that, like, they had no real landmarks. Like, this was at least part of what they were saying. It was like, there's no landmarks in the game. Like, New Orleans has, like, the French Quarter and all this stuff, but nothing that, like, differentiates it from maybe another southern city. But, like, when they put the Space Needle in there, they're like, well, what the fuck could it possibly be? And, like, do we make, like, an alternate Space Needle now, or do we just, like, embrace the fact that this is Seattle?
Well,
and they told me that they were calling it Seaport.
Oh, really?
For a while.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, one of the things they talked about when they showed us the game, when I went up there for PAX, and they were talking about, using a real city, that the technology is finally there that they feel like they can accurately represent Seattle. Granted, in a microcosm where it's not street for street, but your districts are there, and they are so varied, and, Space Needle's there, and the pink car wash and stuff.
I have a question for you guys, and, like, forgive me if it's really obvious, but has there ever been a game set in Seattle before?
I don't
think so. I mean, there must be.
Yeah.
Something.
Tony Hawk, was there anything like that? They were
maybe. Yeah, maybe a map of Tony Hawk. But I don't know. I mean, nothing that comes to mind.
Yeah, I just think, I think...
Sleepless in Seattle.
That's what you were
The
thinking.
Tom Hanks RPG we all remember.
I just think, I guess, when I played it, it was so refreshing to play in a city that I'd never played in
Right.
before.
Yeah, it's
you know
not
what I
New
mean?
York,
Like,
right? It's not Manhattan.
It wasn't New York. It wasn't some other version of New York. It felt new and it felt really real. And again, that's massively exciting to me.
Okay. We're going off book now. Something else you talked about before we started. You're now playing through all the Metal Gears.
I am. That's right.
Because you're reviewing Metal Gear 5.
Yes.
Ground
yes,
Zeroes.
Yes. Ground Zeroes. Really,
How excited
really
are you?
weird, man.
You must be a Metal Gear fan. We've never spoken
I
at
am
length.
I am a very big Metal Gear fan.
I like you a lot.
Yeah, I like you too,
Yeah,
Greg.
okay, good. So how are they stacking up? You're going. I mean, I've played the HD stuff, obviously, but like even that, I'm popping into review, make sure it checks out and getting out. How are they holding up years and years later?
Well, I didn't replay one because I've played one so many times
Right.
that I know it like
Shadow
the back
Moses,
of my
got
hand.
it. Don't worry about it.
It's in my brain.
Right.
It's infused there.
Yeah.
So I've replayed 2, 3, touched a little bit of 4 because I played it more recently, and Peace Walker.
Yeah, Peace Walker.
Yeah, so again, like they still stack up to me because they're just so unique, and I think that's the thing with the Metal Gear series. Like, even if the gameplay is a little bit wonky, even if number 2 perhaps falls down in certain areas, they're just so utterly weird, and I'd almost forgotten how freaking weird these games are and how weird Kojima's mind is.
Oh yeah.
And for that reason, they're just still endlessly fascinating to me.
Yeah.
There's still little surprises that I pick up on that maybe I didn't pick up on the first time around. And I'm playing them all on the Vita as well, which is
nice.
a really good platform for them.
Yeah. I was enjoying 3 for a while on the train.
Yeah. Absolutely wonderful games. Again, 3 is probably my favorite. I think I still get choked up at the end. Not to spoil anything.
Please spoil it. It came out 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Van full of nuns spiraling off the road.
And again, it's great to play Peace Walker again. Yeah, it's one of your favorite games, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's such a brilliant game, and I still think a lot of people missed it because maybe they didn't have PSP or
Yeah.
whatever, didn't realize quite how deep that game went.
I don't think people expected it to tie into the universe. So like, it's a critical portion of what's happening right now with 5. You know what I mean? I think a lot of-
exactly.
Everything I've heard about 5 for Ground Zeroes, at least from people, like it seems like you're in even the trailers when they're showing characters from Peace Walker that I'm immediately like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that.
Yeah,
it seems like people are gonna be lost.
That's what I've heard too. I imagine maybe they might be lost, but I also really enjoy the unapologeticness of that.
Right.
Like, yeah, you've played Peace Walker because it's as important in the canon as the rest of them.
Yeah.
So I quite like that, and I honestly hope it just makes more people play Peace Walker in preparation.
100% agree.
So yeah.
Are you concerned with Ground Zero's length?
I'm actually not concerned with Ground Zero's length. I do appreciate that some people might be a bit might not want to pay the price. But from what, again, this is pure speculation at this point. This is just from what I've heard.
Right.
There's so much extra content, and if it's like Peace Walker, it's not really extra content. It's not like optional missions per se, because these are missions you'll want to play because they're lots of fun.
Yeah.
Like all the extra missions in Peace Walker, I wanted to play.
Yeah, no,
I
I
never
totally
sort
get
of
it.
felt like, oh, I could maybe do this. Like
That was the thing.
this
Like,
tacked on mode or whatever. It was they were integral parts of the game.
yeah, when people started freaking out about it, like I'd already seen enough to be, and like when I did like rewinds, I'm like, oh, they're using the same CQC hand, hit
Yeah.
R. Like I was like, this is, if it's gonna be like Peace Walker, then it's going to be, there's the mission campaign, sure, but then you go and you unlock all those extra ops that you want to go get to get all the VIPs, to airlift them out, to build up your base, to do the.
Absolutely, and I think also if because. Again, Kojima said that your progress carries over and maybe things you've collected carry over or whatever. If Phantom Pain is as big as we've heard, which is really, really goddamn big.
Yeah.
I think that I like the idea of a little prologue where you can carry stuff on over.
Sure.
Like, I think it's cool. And so I'm certainly not going into the review thinking, 2 hours.
2 strikes against it already.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's. I certainly don't think it's going to be a 2-hour experience. So.
I can't wait.
How, when you were playing MGS2, which is my favorite Metal Gear Solid,
Right. Okay, that's interesting.
How excited were you when you saw Fat Man? Because he's the best.
Fat Man is the best.
He really
Fat
is.
Man is one of the weirdest boss battles.
Don't encourage it.
I, to this day, I think it's one of the weirdest boss battles I've ever played. And
he's drinking out of the little straw with
he's a
get the
character
hell
we
outta
just
here.
It's so good.
we need more Fat Man in our lives.
I wish he would somehow make an appearance again. See, that's what I'm most excited about with the
Maybe
Phantom
he'll be
Pain.
Fat Boy now.
Fat Boy. Well, Little Boy would be the other bomb, right? Fat Man and Little Boy were the two bombs.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like Fat Man is Fat Boy. Like
I'm just saying, wouldn't it make more sense, Greg, if they named it after the other bomb? Because he's named Fat Man because of the bomb. So then he would be named Little Boy, which is the accompanying bomb that they dropped.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But I'm like, Fat Boy.
Fat Boy.
Anyway, what I'm excited.
How come why have I never cosplayed as Fat Man? That seems like a perfect one for me.
I can't answer that question for you.
You should figure that out for me.
But I'm most excited about with Phantom Pain is seeing the enemies, like the bad guys, because that's always the real bad guys, because that's what I'm always excited about in those games. I still think Metal Gear Solid 1's cast is probably the best, and the most diverse. Psycho Mantis and all those.
Psycho Mantis!
Vulcan Raven,
Yeah.
Decoy Octopus.
Decoy,
Yeah,
your fave,
yeah.
your fave.
My favorite. You see him once, but he's not himself. He's the DARPA chief.
DARPA chief.
And then in MGS3, what was it? It was all like the Pain and like all those guys, right?
The Cobra.
Sorrow.
The Cobra guys.
Yeah, the Sorrow and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So MGS4 was whatever, and then
Peace Walker was robots.
Yeah,
But even the robots were really weird.
Yeah,
like
the
how they
chrysalis,
sing.
the pupa.
Yeah.
Da-na-na-na-na-na. So creepy, Colin.
So
it was
creepy.
awesome.
But you're right, and that again, it's all about the bad guys. It's all about the bad guys, and
I agree.
And just going back to Metal Gear Solid, like Psycho Mantis, that boss fight. Remember how you put your controller down and it rumbles, and it's all his like psychic powers. I showed that to my dad, who didn't know that the controller rumbled.
Yeah.
And he thought it was the most, like, he was, like, totally gobsmacked.
Sorcery!
He was. This is
Threw
a
the
guy,
PlayStation out of the
guy
window.
who knows nothing about video games, doesn't care about video games, and he was, like, just totally taken aback. And I still remember feeling really proud in that moment. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's that bat. We've often talked on this podcast about that battle specifically being.
I see you like Castlevania.
Yeah, like I loved how I read your memory card. Like that was like there was just so much brilliant shit in that one fight. Enough brilliance in that fight for most games.
Yeah.
And they've never won up that fight in any of the games.
Well, that's always the one thing I always think about with Metal Gear, and not so much. One of the reasons I like Peace Walker is I felt like it broke, tradition of what a Metal Gear game felt like. Is that I felt like, 2, 3, 4, they were always chasing the ghost of 1. You know what I mean? They were always trying to do stuff that was like to top themselves, but it always felt kind of like, oh, you're just copying that. You know what I mean? Like that feels similar to what you've already done.
Yeah, you certainly there are the same narrative beats in the subsequent games.
Except for when Meryl marries the guy who shits his pants. No one can explain that one.
Yeah, that's right.
Andrew writes in to Beyond at IGN.com. No, I wish. He says, hello, Greg, Colin, and guest. That's you.
Oh, that's me.
He's thinking of you. You mentioned in an earlier episode that Delsin from Infamous Second Son looked a lot like Troy Baker because of the face scanning. I started thinking about Uncharted 4 and the face scanning in that, and how would that work with Nolan North since he looks nothing like Drake? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Andrew.
I don't agree that he doesn't look anything like.
Yeah, I think Nolan looks a lot like Drake in terms of his face, but I don't think it's not necessarily a one-for-one thing where Delsin looks a lot like Troy because that's how they took the character, but you can put the balls on your face and then just map the movements of your smile and your cheekbones, and it doesn't have to look like that person. It's just reference for that other character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that all the time. A lot of characters that are mocap don't look anything like the person that they
Let's
are.
look at Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Certainly, there's no Smeagol running around.
The streets of Wellington.
But even like the stuff they're talking about with Naughty Dog in particular, like Joel doesn't look like Troy, and they like are monitoring their faces. They're filming their faces. I think they did that for Uncharted too, actually, and that's why Drake does look a bit like Nolan. I don't think it's out of the question. I don't think Nolan North's going to be out of a job anytime soon.
No,
even though he should be. You jerk. Phil writes in and says, what do publishers gain from scheduling when people are allowed to talk about their game? I understand if they think a game is bad and would want to hide something, but if a game is good, wouldn't they want people talking about it as much as possible? He's talking about embargoes here, Colin.
That's a very complex question.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's what Phil does. That's what he brings to the table.
No.
I think a great example is South Park right now. The fact that game was delayed, nobody played it forever, we didn't know anything about it, and then we finally got to play an hour of it, we loved it, and now the review goes up and we love it overall, but it's embargoed till 12/01, day of release.
Yeah, it's tough. I think we've trained our readers somewhat to be skeptical of day and date embargoes, right? Because it seems like there's something to hide. That's not always the case with South Park. It's certainly not the case.
Sometimes it's the case.
Yeah,
sure.
I would say
Like
even
Blood
often
Drive.
it's the case.
Yeah, like that highly anticipated Capcom mech game, Blood Drive.
But I think that, from what I've been told, I've had a lot of conversations about embargoes with various people, from PR, from fellow journalists and whatnot. It's really to create a level playing field for everybody, for all the outlets, that they have enough time. They don't feel like they have to rush, that they get time to marinate and get everything up. What not having embargoes like when we're at E3 is like actually super fucking stressful, and like you have to go now right and do all these things. But maybe it would just be better thought out if you had like 2 days to do it or whatever. So embargoes, I think, exist to control the message, but also to make sure there's some evenness across the field.
Sure. I think a big part of it is also marketing, though, right? Like, if we would have reviewed South Park a week ago, that's great. You see it's a great game. You go to buy it, and it's not out yet, and so you bail and you don't do it. Whereas now you see a great review for South Park, you go, holy crap, I need to get that. It's on Steam. It's on digital. It's at the store. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want to get it at that moment, right? That's a big part of it, is controlling the message in terms of accessibility and owning that day, right? You figure they're trying to get it, I'm sure, trending on Twitter and doing all this other stuff. So there's a marketing slant to it for sure, as far as getting people.
It is complicated.
It is. It's a really complicated.
Like Lion said.
Like Lion said.
I love you guys.
James from London writes in and says, "Hey, Greg, Colin, and everyone else over at Podcast Beyond." See you again.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm writing to ask. I've recently bought a PlayStation 4 and am a new convert to the PlayStation ecosystem.
Congratulations.
Nintendo are losing me with their Wii U efforts, but let's not go into that. I have subscribed to PlayStation Plus and am amazed by the free games out on the PlayStation 3 and Vita. My question is this. Should I buy a PlayStation 3 to take advantage of these games and play the back catalog of titles, or be patient and invest my money in upcoming AAA PlayStation 4 games?
I would say buy a PlayStation 3.
That's
what I would say.
Yeah, I mean,
If you can afford it.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say go buy it, and like that is probably the right answer. But PlayStation Now comes out this summer. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Probably doesn't. And you'll be able to play the back catalog of games there as well.
Yeah, but the question is, how big is it going to be on day one? How well is it going to work?
You should play the games natively anyway.
Exactly. Well, you figure what he's driving at, right, is if he doesn't say, he says he's new. He doesn't know how many months he's been on PlayStation Plus. He is banking all these PS3 games that are just sitting there now. So hopefully he's been redeeming them, even though he doesn't have a PlayStation 3, attaching them to his account.
Banking. Remember the Weakest Link?
Bank. Yeah, that was it, right? You got to bank it.
Do you remember the show The Weakest Link? With the crazy,
you are the weakest link.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Yeah.
And they'd bank, and then that was a great show. We got to bring that show back.
We do not need to bring that back.
No, okay.
That was an intensely stressful show.
Yeah, it was. It was because you had to rely on like your teammates to know the answers.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there was no reason to bank.
Well, this is what we need to do is have PlayStation team with them and just be able to use it. That even if you don't have a PlayStation 3, you need to bank it, and that woman comes out.
Where's she? I'm gonna look this all up.
She's a millionaire, I'm sure. She doesn't have to worry about anything.
Is she a millionaire?
No, probably not.
She wasted
Sitting
all
in
her
a
money.
Scrooge McDuck pile of riches.
Yeah. Well, I think, residuals, they're paying her out over time.
It probably is on Game Show
I was going
Network.
to say, it's got to be in syndication somewhere.
Yeah, Game Show Network probably.
I honestly reckon, though, if I, despite PlayStation Now, if I could afford a PlayStation 3 and I hadn't dipped my toes in, God, there's so much.
Right.
There's so much to discover.
It's still coming, too.
Because,
Catalog
think of it
isn't-
this way. All right, so this is it. PlayStation Now will have to pay something for, we imagine. We don't know anything about it.
For sure.
What the subscription model is, blah, 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 blah. With PlayStation 3, if he just buys the PlayStation 3, which is what, like $200 now?
Yeah.
If he buys that and just sits it on his shelf or whatever, and then just banks all these PlayStation 3, PlayStation Plus titles, he'll have a library, a sizable
He's got to
library.
buy that friggin' George Foreman grill one, though. That sucks.
The slider top?
Yeah.
I like it all right. I mean, I don't like it. I like the original Slim. The Slim is the good one.
2009 Slim's the best.
Yeah.
No, I agree. You just buy. I mean, there's so many games. There's so many games. You go to the top 25 PS3 games.
Yeah.
That we do
Yeah.
on IGN.
Just start with the first 5. Start with the top 5 and go down.
Yeah. You'd be playing a lot of Uncharted.
Yeah. A lot of Naughty Dog on that list.
But yeah, and then I do concur that he can put these games away. I would also say let's not underestimate the games that are still coming. Tales of Exilia 2 is coming out this year. Persona 5 comes out next year. There's going to still be PS3 games to play.
Sure.
So I think it's if you want to play Persona 5, you're going to have a PS3.
It's interesting. When we always talk about this, I always talked about PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Plus selling PlayStation Vitas because it would be the same thing, right? Well, I've banked all these PlayStation Vita games. I might as well spend however much money.
Yeah, I've been told. I've interviewed people at Sony that have told me that there are definitely people that buy Vita that have never bought a game because of PlayStation Plus. That don't buy games, and the attach rate is still extraordinary on Vita, with those numbers taken into account, like over a dozen of Vita. So.
Christopher Stewart writes into beyond@ign.com and says, Trophy hunting question, guys. Season 2 of The Walking Dead is updating the trophy list for each and every episode of the DLC, unlike how they did the first season. There is no platinum listed so far.
What?
Will we get one eventually? It's a great game either way, but I do love my trophy.
I didn't know that.
Christopher Stewart, I will burn Telltale to the ground if there isn't a platinum trophy on that. But he's right. So far, they put out episode 1, and it was just that episode's trophies.
Yeah,
and you went,
it doesn't look like it's going to happen this time.
no, but I mean, the trophy list updates every time. And it's not
but
it's not updating with the pluses.
But I don't. Oh, really? I don't know if you can
It's
patch
not-
your platinum in.
It's not updating. I think if you're messing with your trophy list that way, imagine it this way. Okay, so stick with me. Maybe it's just a platinum tacked on to episode 5.
You can't do that.
Yeah, you could. You can say episode 5 is a platinum.
You can't do that.
I'm saying you don't. Episode 5's trophies aren't meaning anything for episode 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, but you can't attach a platinum trophy to a downloadable game unless they have permission to do that.
Well,
it has to be 200 points.
Clearly, this has been negotiated at some point in time.
We know too much about the trophies. It's really quite sad.
There has to be trophies for this.
I will be furious if we know people. Why don't you just ask someone?
Well, I was busy when we had to go to this. I had to do a bunch of conversations.
They don't probably know the answer. Like, why do you even care? That's probably going to be their answer. Whenever I talk to about trophies with devs or publishers, they're like, I don't even know.
Especially
Yeah,
yeah,
no, nobody- why
Telltale.
does-
I mean,
about that, yeah.
You never think those. Well, I personally never think trophies when it comes to Telltale's games.
But something
I do.
bothered me about something bothered me about the Walking Dead season 1. To be perfectly honest.
Okay.
I liked it a lot. It was great. I liked that you got a platinum just for beating it. But that gave a bunch of people that never earned a platinum because they didn't have the fortitude to get a platinum trophy, a trophy just for beating the game. You know?
Yeah.
There was no missable trophies.
I like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, and I love that infuriates you as well.
I have like 40 of them, and this one's just sitting there
Maybe is you play
next
the
to
game.
my Fallout 3 one.
You enjoy it. You have some fun. You get the trophy.
I don't know.
I just
Think of it this way: it's a gateway drug to trophy whoredom, like we have.
It could be.
Trophy hunting, if you will.
Just sort of lazily lying back, casually pressing the circle button. Oh, we got a platinum trophy.
I'm sitting there playing fucking Leisure Suit Larry, box office bust.
Yeah.
screaming out loud while I'm playing it into a pillow.
so as not to wake your girlfriend sleeping next to you. That's how you did it.
And these friggin' guys.
They just come over, get their free platinum trophy.
Telltale's wise to it. That's probably why there's no platinum in it.
I'm telling you, there's going to be a platinum.
It'll probably be like what happened with Back to the Future, where there was no platinum, and then when they re-released it, right? Then they put the platinum in on the disc version, didn't they?
Yeah, there was a disc version of the platinum. Was
Oh,
there no
probably.
platinum on Back to the Future, the episodes?
I don't think so. No.
Really?
They're individual. Yep. That's why I stopped playing. Because I'm like, this isn't fun, and I don't need this, fucking drama in my life right now with this crap.
I need my platinum. I need my platinum before everyone do it. Back to the Future had some annoying trophies too.
Yeah,
you had to get the freaking thing
They
with
were
the algae.
impossible. I don't even understand how anyone could have possibly organically gotten any of them. I used the trophy guide.
Well, there you go. Well, I mean, that's what you just said you wanted. You can't have it both ways. You can't naturally get the platinum and then.
All right.
All
Move
right.
on.
We have another trophy question. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Ben writes in and says, "Dear Greg and Colin and other, I recently switched from 360 to the PlayStation 3 after getting my third Red Ring of Death. I bought a PlayStation 4 and am now trophy level 8. However, I have an abysmal 0 platinums. Is there any word on what types of trophies are going to be in the new Infamous? I'm going to try to make this my first platinum game."
I suspect it'll be like the other two.
I mean, we don't know for sure. We know there's no multiplayer, so right there it would be like, yeah, it has
And no UGC either. That was the big pain in the ass in Infamous 2, was playing the 25 missions.
But it wasn't even that bad, right?
Well, it was annoying, though. I
I'm
didn't
sure
want
it's
to do
annoying. I don't want to do it either.
it. My suspicion is that you'll have to beat it once as a good guy, once as a bad guy, once on hard. So that's 2 playthroughs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to get all the blast shards and all the collectibles and stuff.
Yeah. It's always a fun platinum, though.
I really did enjoy getting the platinums in Infamous and Infamous 2.
Yeah.
1 was more fun than 2, in terms of that, in that respect.
Okay.
2's a better game.
Agreed.
I like the story of 1 better, though. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I think Infamous 2 is a better game as well.
Yeah.
But I just enjoyed the whole... even though Trish was a total bitch and I didn't care much about her, it was an origin story.
It had
Origin
the
stories
real
are fun.
Cole in it, too, not the fake Cole.
Oh, the fake Eric Cole that we were already talking about and saying how we liked. Thanks for screwing that over, our relationships. We have a hit of the week request. Are you ready, Colin?
Yes.
This one comes from Eric. He says, "Beyond Greg," misspells my name. That's always a good one. Colin and blank guest. That's you. Lion.
Blank.
I'm writing in Lion.
Can you just add
Lion.
add lion later?
No.
Okay.
I am
Every single
Eric.
time you say Lucy, just replace it with Lion. Anyway, continue.
I'm
Lion.
Eric from Riverside, home of the one and only Nick Scarpino. He used to shadowbox there.
Yeah.
With Dead Nation coming to PlayStation Plus, PlayStation 4 this week, I am looking to platinum it, so I need some help from the Beyond Nation.
You sure will.
Can I be hit of the week? My PSN is Maggot6669. That's Maggot, MAGGOTT 6669. That has 2 G's and 2 T's.
2 T's.
I was 13 and I am learning to live with my mistake, Greg.
Shuhei, just let us change
No,
our
he's doing
names.
The right thing. He's living with his mistake.
No, this is
if
ridiculous.
you're listening
This is just-
or watching this, ladies and gentlemen,
is
think
getting
about your freaking footprint on the internet.
It's getting out of hand.
I love that he admits to it. I love that he
Well,
owns
people
up,
always
though.
write in and they're like, "Oh, when can we change him?" And I'm like, "That's your bed.
Yeah.
You made it. You get to lie
It's
in
like
it."
a bad tattoo.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
it's like a tattoo that you regret, but it's there. Own it.
Now you learned something, yeah. He also has some public service advice here. Guacamelee is only $7.34 for PlayStation Plus members, and as you know, it is a great game with a very doable platinum. So I highly recommend it, even for the $10.49 without PlayStation Plus.
Yes. It is the best Vita game.
So there you
of
go,
Vita
ladies and
last year.
gentlemen. Go ahead and friend Maggot, MAGGOTT 6669. Help him out with Dead Nation.
That
as
makes
many
me
of us
think
will.
that Maggot, whatever it was, 666 was taken.
Yeah, he's like,
which
"Damn
blows
it."
my mind.
Oh, and so he adds, so it's 69.
Maggot. Well, probably first he put Maggot with 1 T.
Yeah.
666. That was taken. He did Maggot with 2 T's. 666. That was taken. Then he had to put the 9 at the end of it. So
Man.
there was 3 of them. That's how many fucking people are on PlayStation Network with these terrible names. Shuhei, let us out of this jail cell you put us in.
You did this to us.
Since 2006.
Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Podcast Beyond, episode 332. Thank you so much for listening to it. Remember, if you want to be part of the show, beyond at IGN.com, just like a whole bunch of people did. Then remember that the podcast is fun, but what keeps the mics on is IGN.com. Go there, read the articles, watch the videos, sign up for Prime, download the PlayStation 4 app, watch us there, and have a good time. Colin, if people want to go be a part of the show, long after it's been posted, they can follow us on Twitter. IGN is IGN. You're no taxation. Lucy is...
I'm Luce O'Brien. Luce O'Brien.
Okay. When are you going to change it to Lion?
Probably as
Lion
soon as we
O'Brien?
leave this room. It's
Okay.
going to happen.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.